Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of October 9th through to the 15th. This is a very big week in the astrology. We not only have a planet changing direction, we have a planet changing sign, and we also have an eclipse, as well as some really potent aspects this week. So we are in eclipse season, y'all. And eclipse season is no light matter. Eclipses in astrology means an evolutionary jump forward for the collective. That means a whole lot of endings and a whole lot of beginnings. And we are already feeling it. October is a deep month already. Not only do we have fall season, so Libra at the beginning, we also then move into Scorpio season, which is very much about death, rebirth, and transformation already. Now, add on that this eclipse energy, and we're going to have a month of a lot of shifts. So let's get started. So we start out on Monday, October 10th, with us. We're in a fourth quarter phase because we're building to the noon, or yes, losing light to the noon eclipse in Libra. And in this new moon eclipse that's coming up, this fourth quarter phase means we are kind of feeling a little tired, right? We're feeling a little drained. The moon is losing light until that new moon on Saturday. So we're starting the week on a fourth quarter phase in Leo. And Leo very much is, it wants to have a good time. It's not interested in heavy stuff. It's trying to find its way with its own, its own energy, its own light. What is its, talent that it wants to shine out into the world? So we're sort of starting out this week in that, it can be a little bit triggery as well, because we want to be acknowledged, we want to be appreciated, and we might not be feeling that with this energy, if you know what I'm saying. So Monday, October 10th, Pluto goes direct. Now, Pluto is a very slow moving planet. It's, considered the furthest out planet or satellite. There's a lot of debate in astrology. We call it a planet, and Pluto represents death, rebirth, and transformation. No light planet, evolution, change. There's that really deep, transmission or transformation of our pain into light. And so when Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, it's bringing up all of the ways that we are adhering to structures that are no longer relevant. It's breaking up the old to make way for the new. So there's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of protests. There's a lot of going against the grain when Pluto is retrograde. Now, when Pluto goes direct, meaning it's starting to pick up speed in its elliptical orbit of the sun, it's now a time when we're going to see all that has been kind of torn apart start to rebuild and transform into something new, right? But it is a very slow planet. So this day, I think will likely go off without any real fanfare. It's a very subtle aspect that kind of builds over time. So, it's not going to be anything that we're going to see, massive transformations like Uranus or something today. Just know that that's now direct, and it's a subtle energy that's now going to be, you're going to be noticing that all the things that were brought to the surface are now going to be transformed into something else. So maybe that's new legislation. Maybe that's, really action on issues that were brought to the fore during the time of Pluto retrograde. Now, also on this day, we have Venus opposite to Saturn. This is a very powerful aspect. This Venus opposite to Saturn is going to bring up all the ways that we're feeling not so great in relationships. Saturn is about responsibility, duty. It can be scarcity. It's father time. He's the taskmaster of the zodiac. And Venus is what we love and value. Venus is in Virgo. So Venus in Virgo, we want to serve, we want to be of service, we want to do the things that we came here to do. It's love in and acts of service. It's also being practical, reliable, responsible. And when Saturn is opposite in Pisces, it's how are we taking on responsibilities that really maybe aren't in our highest good. Maybe how we are people pleasing, maybe how we are, adhering to old patterns that are now kind of keeping us from our dreams, Pisces. So this opposition is going to bring up on Monday, with Pluto direct, and then this opposition to Venus and Saturn. This is going to be a really intense day. Relationships are going to be tested, and that is the theme of October, right? Love relationships, partnerships in business, and our relationships and how they relate to money, self-worth. That kind of stuff is going to really be brought up because the eclipses are in Libra and Taurus. So this is going to be a whole theme for October. And here we are, right? Venus and relationships being really kind of tested with, are you going to be asked to do more than your share? Or where do you feel like you're being asked to do more than your share? So our responsibility in relationships is going to be tested. Where do you take on responsibility and excuse the other person from the ability to take on their own responsibility and make choices for themselves? When we do that, especially, as mothers and as our children are growing up, you have to allow them to make their own mistakes. You have to, of course, you can try to help them out, but anyone who has a teenager will know that they will not be so interested in listening to you, that you don't know anything, you've never lived any life, And so there's this kind of need to step back and go, okay, you know what, I'll be responsible for you because I love you. And I'll also be responsible for your growth by allowing you to make those mistakes for yourself. This can bring light to insecurities and vulnerabilities that need to be healed now. And this is not light, right? There's going to be relationships that are really be tested. And what's going to come out of this is the people who are going to last through this and relationships that are last are going to be strong and are going to be made stronger because of this, right? If you sort of turn around and say, you know what, I've been doing so many things for you and not really allowing yourself to do all the things, and I'm sorry for that. And the person goes, no, I like that. Don't stop doing that. And you're like, I need that energy for other things in my life, but you know what? You got this, and I'm gonna be your coach as opposed to your rescuer. Right. All right, Thursday, October 12th. I know we're kind of jumping a few of those days. Now, these aspects, especially this moon and the aspects around the moon, are going to be in effect all week. So don't be like, okay, and then Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be nice and light. No, there's going to still be that Venus opposite Saturn. It's still going to be in play for the entire week. So just notice what relationships are coming up for you, that maybe there's neediness, maybe there's people pleasing, maybe there's people that are really relying on you to do so much for them. And you're like, wait, I got stuff to do in my life. I got things I need to take care of as well. So just notice that. Now on Thursday, October 12th, we have Mars moving into Scorpio. So Mars is our motivation, our passion, our drive. And when Mars moves into into Scorpio, we want depth. We want to move forward because we're trying to find out something. We're trying to get to the bottom of something. It's research, it's digging, it's uncovering secrets, right? This is about deep connections now. We are motivated through something deeper than just light and fluffy. Like, you're not interested in talking about the weather. You're not interested in being, surface Susie. We're going to be depth, Debbie depth. We're really going deep into the underworld, death, rebirth, and transformation. And we're not interested in doing things if it doesn't have a big personal reward out of this that's going to get us some sort of transformation in the end, right? So it's focused on driven, persevering, driving deep, persevering, and being, strength, right? Trying to find out what this is going to help fortify us and make us stronger. We want to have deep, meaningful, movement and be a part of movements that are deep and meaningful, relationships that have strength to them, not just something surface or things are just required of us of the surface to have this going. So this is going to really help us to uncover patterns that are no longer serving us and really see things as they are, not as we wish they would be. And we're also really drawn to the taboo subjects. So things like psychic, mediumship, astrology, shamanic, death and rebirth, things that are like ayahuasca. Meditation could be even this, because it helps you to kind of go to the subconscious level and really unearth what keeps us in these patterns. This psychology is perfect for Scorpio. This is kind of leading the way for Scorpio season. Now, also on this day, we have Mercury in conjunct to Jupiter. So if you were listening last week, the week of inconjuncts, this is your mind and your expansion, and they have to find a way to kind of work together, because your mind is overthinking things in Libra, and your Jupiter in Taurus retrograde is like, where do you want to expand? Why do you want to expand in this? And you're like, I've been doing it this way forever, and you're like, no, the universe is like, no, we're not doing this again. So we have ideas or solutions for win-win situations, but we are not able to implement them just yet. This aspect is a right timing aspect, meaning we are not seeing the abundance or outcomes that we desire because there's something that's blocking the expansion. But it's not blocking it because it's trying to thwart you. It's blocking it because it's not the right time yet. There's this or something better. So you might have a lot of great ideas with this transit about expansive things and big things, but when you try to implement, it's not working out just yet. And really, it's not the time. This is the dark side of the moon now. This is not a time to be launching and going big and getting lots of people to, buy into your stuff. Like, people are tired. This is the last quarter phase of the moon. That's why, like, honestly, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to understand how to use astrology according to for it to help you in your entrepreneurship in your life, then I highly recommend you join the Astro Flow community, or if you're an entrepreneur, to come to my vision board workshop on November 4th and 5th if you're in Edmonton, and learn how to plan your year ahead with the astrology, with momentum, really with that inner, from the inside out, so to speak. So I promise you, it's going to change your life. It's the way I do my life year ahead planning, and it's like gold. It's gold. I love to share it with you. All right, Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th, y'all. I mean, how amazing is this, right? October the 13th in October, which is, well, Friday the 13th in October, which is, Halloween season, Scorpio season. It's still Libra season, though, so we're not jumping ahead to Scorpio season just yet. But October the 13th, our Friday the 13th is lucky for you. I've always kind of grown up thinking that they were lucky. There's something really kind of special because they're not very, often. Of course, popular culture kind of demonizes it. I'd say, let's take it back. Let's make it something special. This is a wonderful time to really cast, but not really cast because we're in eclipse season. So really just noticing what are the wonderful things the universe is bringing your way, because there is a wonderful aspect on this day. You're like, finally. So Mars trine to Saturn retrograde. So Saturn retrograde is about, it's in Pisces. So bringing up the ways that our dreams are not manifesting because we are, the structure in which we want to bring our dreams to light is not quite there. So Saturn retrograde in Pisces is bringing up all the ways that we can now kind of shift out of those old patterns to bring our dreams to reality. So it's a good thing. And Mars is our energy, vitality, motivation, or desire to move forward. So this Mars together with Saturn is we are feeling motivated to get things done. We are so motivated to really push through our work, our to-do schedule. This is going to be good for your Friday working day. Strength, ambition, and perseverance are all available to you more easily than usual at this time. Now, remember, we're still at the dark time of the moon, so you're not going to have a whole lot of energy, but you are going to have that brain sense that's kind of happening the day before as well, that kind of intelligence that's with you with big ideas and ways to maybe think outside the box. And with this Saturn and Mars coming together, you can take on hard tasks and a lot can get done today on time and on budget. You can find effective and efficient ways to get projects completed, and self-discipline and patience is really going to be, afforded to you today, right? You'll have that kind of access to that energy today. So this Friday the 13th, I feel like it's going to be a good day. You know what? Like, I feel like it's been given a bad name by, all those heretic and witch haters and, people burn witches at the stake. And we know they're not really our friends, are they? So really, this is time now to take back Friday the 13th. Now, on Saturday, October the 14th, we're going to feel this aspect all week, right? We really are. It's going to be a very powerful eclipse. And it is a new moon solar eclipse in Libra. So in astrology, eclipses mean that this moon aspect, this cosmic event, is either happening with the south node, which is our karmic past and what we're needing to learn to bring into our future, or our karmic future, which is the north node. Where are we heading to as a collective? Where are we sort of setting our north star, and where are we heading towards? And this is a south node eclipse. So meaning that the sun, the moon, and the north node are all sitting in Libra. So this is a Libra new moon aspect, but in the south node. And within Libra, we also have Mercury hanging out there too. So all of these 4 points are going to be together at this new moon. This is a powerful, powerful eclipse because our mind, our intuition, our beingness, and what we are leaving behind, and how are we setting the tone now to move forward in relationships, in community, in connection with others, is now at the fore, right? So, what relationships have to fall away? What have you learned from your past relationships? This is a wonderful eclipse to take an inventory of all the past relationships you've been in and what have you learned from them. So, sometimes we'll do that in my grief counseling sessions, especially if we're going through a divorce, or I'm working with a person who's single and wanting to be in a relationship, or is maybe struggled with relationships their whole life. We'll take an inventory of our past relationships, major relationships that have had major effects on you, and what did you learn in each one? What happened in that relationship? And maybe you haven't learned something yet. I can help you with that, right? So understanding soul contracts is going to be a big one for this new moon. And it's interesting because a new moon is a time of beginnings, but also a time of kind of realizing what has come before. What do you want now instead? Right. And because this is a South Node eclipse, it is our karmic past that we are taking into consideration with this new beginning. So it's like, what are we releasing now to the past? What are we relegating that we're like, we will no longer be open for this? Right. So I was listening to, I can't remember who the coach was, but she said, I am the type of person who, right? So whatever follows that is you're the type of person who. So for those of you who know me well, I struggle with being on time for personal appointments. So I'm the type of person who is on time for her appointments. I'm the type of person who uses her money wisely, right? So it's kind of when you say I'm the type of person who, right? It's sort of now it is declaring this is part of your identity, right? And you say it, you're no longer available for anything that's outside of that. So that's going to be a really lovely little clue for you. And you can use that on your new moon kind of rituals. Also, I would say during eclipse season, this energy is wild, right? There is evolution in the air and it already knows what it's trying to do. You can already feel in your life what parts of your life are trying to fall away, right? With this South Node eclipse, what's trying to fall away? What are you resisting letting go of? What in your life now needs to be relegated to the past? That is where your focus is. You're not trying to create something new. And manifestation means that you're trying to create and use this energy to kind of divert it into your path. And that's not going to work out very well for you. This is not the time to charge your crystals. This is not the time to do moon water. This is a time to just be in the energy and feel what is coming into you. So not a moon to manifest with. It is a time to but as humans, we are always manifesting. Our brain is always focused on something and we are making that come to reality, right? And whatever patterns is holding us back, whatever desires are pushing us forward, that's all part of that. We were always manifesting. So I was kind of laughing. Astrologers like, do not manifest on this moon. And you're like, well, it's like, don't breathe. I'm like, oh, I can't do that, right? It's part of your being. But instead, manifest with what is already presenting, right? So new moon, you're setting the intention, but really it's like, what is presenting in your life right now? You're not looking to the astrology. You're not looking outside yourself. You're feeling what is happening within and what's happening in your life. And you're taking a clue from that. Does that make sense? So, you are always manifesting, and this new moon is asking you, what now are you ready to move forward with that is no longer aligned with your past? Like that is, you're deciding to leave that in the past. So this eclipse as well, because it's in Libra, is ruled by Venus. So Venus rules Libra, and Venus is in Virgo, being of service. And if you'll recall, a couple of days ago, more than a couple of days ago, Venus is still opposite to Saturn. So this is bringing up another clue that we are going to have either relationship drama, we're going to feel isolated, we might even feel like relationships are leaving us, people are leaving us. But it's because this new moon is asking you now, it's those relationships are ready to go to the past. And what now can come in when you clear that kind of fertile ground, right? You're able to I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. All day long, no sneezes. I get on camera now. Of course, I have to sneeze. So, excuse me. So this full moon, or sorry, new moon eclipse in Libra, major opportunities for your soul's evolution. This energy is a potent energy and not meant to be kind of messed with or try to divert it into things. South Node eclipse is about learning from relationships and experiences that you have created your values and self-worth, and now understanding how these past issues related to current relationships and situations. So where have you called in relationships that weren't really aligned or were aligned at the time that they started, but are no longer aligned to who you are now? You're allowed to change, and so are other people, right? And then we have the opportunity to grow with those relationships, or they fall away and or you fall away because you're no longer aligned to where they're going, right? So really quite interesting. And to really place your what's happening for you at this time, you can put it on your calendar for March 25th, 2024, and sort of see where your life has taken you from today. So that's going to be the next full moon in Libra at that time, March 25th, 2024. So, again, we're not trying to manifest and change the destination of where we're going right now, but more so ride the energy. So maybe it might be a little, good to put a little post-it note on your calendar, or maybe a note in your Outlook or Google Calendar, whatever you use, saying, these are the things that are themes that are happening for me at this time. And then notice then 6 months from now, how life is now bringing you to some sort of culmination or realization about these themes in your life, right? Because that's the 6-month cycle for the moons, right? New moon, 6 months later is a full moon, 6 months later is the new moon again. So it's kind of these, birth, death, birth, or birth, release, birth, kind of that's the cycle of the moons. Now, on Sunday, October 15th, we have the sun in conjunct to Uranus. This is very unpredictable energy. You might be feeling restricted, bored, you want some excitement, good day to have no agenda. Just chill, especially after that eclipse energy. This is a time you might be feeling really reckless, impulsive. You just want to shake things up. You want to have something new come in. And the question is really, what are you doing for a creative outlet in your life? What are you doing to have that creative outlet? Because Uranus wants you to do exciting things. It wants you to experience new things, and it wants you to create. It wants you to be the person who is doing something that's true to your soul, right? And when you're not, then you're feeling like you're dying inside. So if you're feeling really impulsive and reckless on this day, please watch out. Don't do anything big. This is definitely not a day to make big investments or make any big changes to your investments. You might find if you go shopping, you might have some cool finds you might get, but you might not really love them after today. So I don't know if I would suggest anything big. Really good creative day. You can use this energy for creativity. It could be okay to go for brunch, but because of that Saturn and Venus, you might have maybe some deep conversations, or you might find that you don't really align with your friends, or the opposite, that you align a lot with your friends and you can really use each other as a sounding board and support throughout this time, because it is a deep time of transformation. And if you're not going through it 100%, at least 2 people in your life that's going through a lot of stuff. And if you don't know, then you're not really talking to anybody, because this is deep. I mean, I've had 3 people just this week tell me that their relationships of many, many years is dissolving. So it's already in the air. It's already started. I record these about a week in advance. So the energy is going to grow in nature throughout this week, throughout this month, in terms of relationships that are no longer serving you. And if there's pain around that, I'm going to invite you to consider this Buddhist saying is attachment is the root of all suffering. So what are you attaching to? What are you holding on to that it's time to say thank you for this wonderful chapter? And, it's okay to grieve. Of course, grief is a natural part of our human experience. If you want a soulful experience with grief and moving through it, I would love to help you. Please do DM me. But This is going to be in deep time. Give yourself that space to process. This is a good time to introspect, to journal, to meditate, to, be around friends, or if you have a therapist or a counselor that you can book some time with, this month would be a really good time to do that. So, wishing you a wonderful month navigating this beautiful astro weather. It is bringing up things to help us navigate to get to the next part of our journey here in this soul evolutionary experience. I'm honored to be your guide, and know that you're not alone, and everything is coming with opportunities for growth and expansion and good things to come. So I hope you can see the silver linings and everything, and I hope that the astrology gives you that kind of excitement and enlightenment for the possibilities that are really presenting in the energy. So wishing you a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you next week. Bye.